Now, many of you already know that, look, NIO reported their earnings beginning of the month and we saw them doing very, very well. And other EV companies, if not all, they've also reported their earnings or Q2 earnings. And my dear friends, it's pretty interesting to see what the companies or the fast growing EV industry companies reported for their Q2 earnings. I mean, one of the company that, though I don't invest in, I like reading about some of their latest developments. It's Lucid, Rivian, and Tesla, right? Those US companies. I am very much also following them or trying to understand what they are doing, because I want to try to I use them to benchmark if NIO is undervalued or overvalued, or it's if whether its share price is valued at a fair price, right? Because at the end of the day, they are competitors, right? So just yesterday I had a chance to look at Lucid's earning, right? And I must say it's pretty interesting that I of the things that I read there, right? But of course, before we dig deep, please guys, just like this video, subscribe, hit that notification bell. YouTube has been telling me that some of you guys are not subscribing, are just watching. So I'll really appreciate if you can just subscribe, because it takes me some time to make videos like this, but I am committed on giving you content on a daily basis. Not just one video, not just two. Sometimes I do a lot on a daily basis, depending on the latest developments that I usually get that day. So I'll really appreciate if you can just like, subscribe if you've not done so, and hit that notification bell so that you don't miss the latest development, the good content that I give you on a day-to-day basis. Because those of you that have subscribed and hit that notification bell, you know you don't need to obviously worry much about what's happening around NIO. You know that if those news are important, I will forever give you those news on this channel. I'm the guy for you here on YouTube, or one of the guys rather, that are talking about NIO, that are giving you news, latest developments. And I promise you that I won't disappoint you. I'll continue giving you the content on a daily basis about NIO. Now back to the video that I'm talking about, the earnings or the Q2 earnings that I just went or read through of Lucid, right? Lucid this year, they were planning to produce 20,000 cars, but during the Q2 earnings call, they adjusted their production capacity or their total production for 2025, right, to between now 18 to 20,000, which is something that is very, very interesting. And look, man, as long as they are growing, I suppose to the investors, that's what is important. But where I'm going with this video, it's just comparison of what Lucid, of course, reported in Q2 versus what NIO, of course, reported. I mean, just looking at the guidance that I gave you, right? We all know right now that NIO's total guidance for the year, or NIO, is going to deliver, or is not going to deliver anything less than 350,000 cars this year. And Lucid, on the other hand, they are saying that they might deliver, or they are going to produce and probably deliver vehicles of between 18 to 20,000. This is something that shows you that NIO should be valued way more, because currently NIO's market cap is almost $15 billion. But if you look at Lucid's market cap, it's around $6 billion. I know it's priced below or way below NIO, but just have a look just at the delivery forecast for 2025. Just have a look at where NIO, the kind of deliveries that NIO is going to deliver versus the kind of deliveries that maybe Lucid intends on delivering. Production, you can call it production, but at the end of the day, those cars will be delivered. It might not be delivered. I know that you find sometimes that what is produced is not what is being delivered. There will be inventories that are left, but on this case, we are assuming that the deliveries, or that 18 to 20,000 is the will equate to also the deliveries that they will make, which might fall short, right? But again, this, we're just looking at this analysis, something that shows you of how undervalued NIO is compared to other EV competitors. I mean, in quarter 2, NIO sold over 72,000 cars, whilst, of course, Lucid sold over 3,300 cars. This is where it's at, right? But look, I'm not here to bash Lucid. All I'm trying to do on this video is try to show you how undervalued NIO is, or why this $6.22 that NIO finished trading at on Sunday, it's still offering a good opportunity for those that are long and strong onto NIO. I mean, Lucid, in terms of obviously their performance, overall performance, it's taking them some time to ramp up their deliveries, right? I know deliveries are growing, but it's a slow pace. They need to do more, because I remember very well 2020 NIO sold, that year, full year, they sold over 20,000 cars. And then you've got 2021, they sold over 40,000 cars, if I still remember very well. Then, and so on and so on. I mean, from that 20,000 or over 20,000 of deliveries we saw in 2020, right now this year, 4 years later, NIO is going to sell over 350,000 cars. This is good growth, right? And there are some other new energy vehicle car makers that they are even going to deliver way more than this. But in 4 5 years ago, they were delivering few cars, right, on a month to month, which was not good for them. So I think Lucid needs to find strategies, because of course, in terms of the losses that they're generating, they are also blaming it on the tariffs, right, that the US is currently imposing on other countries. Remember, some of the parts that they are using Lucid, they are importing them. And obviously, if a place where they are importing some of their parts to build the car has been hit by tariffs, it means that that part, or that whatever they use on their car, they are importing into the US is going to be quite high, therefore tampering with their margins, which is why NIO, or our very own NIO, because of these tariffs and crackdowns and all that, they ended up deciding to produce their own products, or they ended up producing their own chips in-house. They are on a route to produce almost everything that they are using to build their cars. That is NIO's plans, and I'm telling you, that is the route, the plan that I think all the other new energy vehicle car makers should follow, right? Because you don't want your sales to be impacted, your company's financials to be impacted, because of the fact that there are political tensions between countries, and you cannot get the parts, you cannot get to build your car, cannot build as many cars or as many products like you used to, because of tariffs, and it compromises your deliveries, because you have to adjust your price, otherwise you're going to run at a loss. The only solution is to build whatever you are using for your cars in-house. I think that should be a long plan for all the other new energy vehicle car makers, because look at what happens when the US stops NVIDIA from supplying chips to tech companies in China. You will get a lot of frustrations, supply chains issues, or bottlenecks that result into deliveries falling down quite sharply, which is something that we have seen on NIO, we have seen on XPeng and the others. And it is for that reason that they took an initiative to also build their own chips in-house, and that not only help them hedge against maybe chips restrictions, but it also at the same time improve their gross margins, because look, obviously producing something yourself versus you going to buy it from someone, a third party, there is a significant price difference in that. And NIO is for that reason that they chose an option for going to build some of these things that they use to build their cars in-house. So I am happy, man, about NIO, and the valuations are still very, very low for NIO. Looking at what NIO is producing, delivering, versus that which other new energy vehicle car makers are doing. I mean, this goes to, even if you are to go and have a look at XPeng, right? I know XPeng, the only way, the current place that they are beating NIO on, I think it's on net loss, it's on earnings per share, right? This is where they are beating NIO, and the gross margins, They are beating NIO on these three, but in terms of revenue, NIO is having more revenues because their cars are up there. In terms of, obviously, technology, NIO is up there, we know that, right? But the valuation for NIO and XPeng, I'm telling you, it's surprising. XPeng currently is valued over $20 billion, I think 22, 23, but NIO is valued at just $15 billion. But these companies, honestly, besides the net losses, the earnings per share, and probably the gross profit, uh, it's a 50, it's almost like a 50-50, right? Because in as much as NIO is not yet at the kind of gross margin that XPeng produced for Q2, or the kind of deliveries that XPeng had for Q2, NIO has got more potential to do way more than XPeng, because NIO, in terms of technology, we know they are investing a lot on R&Ds. I mean, have a look at some of the technological breakthroughs, like that one of the autonomous driving chip. Yes, XPeng has got the Turing chip, which its computing power, is it 720, but the computing power for the NIO Shinji, it's over 1000. This tells you where NIO and XPeng are, right? NIO sells premium EV, XPeng sell mass market brands, right? Yes, NIO also has got like mass market brands like your Onvo, like your Firefly, right? But NIO remains a premium brand, which obviously that in itself, it's a very, very bold status that NIO just did, because their cars, when it comes to technology, it's quite certain that there's not many other new energy vehicle car makers that can come and compete with them. But anyways, I don't want to make this video too long. All I was trying to show you here is to tell you how NIO is undervalued, right? I mean, Lucid's revenue for Q2 was $259 million, and the NIO's total revenue for Q2, it was $2.65 billion, right? I mean, what Lucid is generating on a quarterly basis is not even 10% of what NIO is generating on a quarterly basis. 256 million versus $2.65 billion. I mean, it's not even 10% of what NIO is generating on a quarterly basis, which is something that, just looking at the revenues, NIO's valuation, it's supposed to be maybe 10 times of that of XPeng. But anyways, we are not there. Like this video, subscribe, hit that notification bell. I'll see you on the next one. That is all from me, my dear friends, and God bless you all.